Episode 14. He watched Jackson straighten up with effort, take a deep breath to get his pain under control, and then head out the door to his office to go after her. She had repaid his gentleness and kindness in a terrible way. "Son, what is going on?" his father asked, curiosity back in his voice. "She's my mate," Nathan said, rubbing a hand over his face and through his hair, frustration filling him. "What?" His father stared at him, shocked. "And you dragged her back here like that? Are you and your wolf insane?" "I only found out when she was walked into my office just now." "Well, shit." He was quiet then for a good minute, clearly thinking about something. "Why is she still running from you then?" "She is disconnected from Cora, Wolfsbane, and Silver. So before she can even register what is happening in this office, she is running away again. Jackson will get her," Nathan stated flatly. "If I recall, son, she could outrun your beta back in the days when she lived here." A growl escaped Havoc. He had forgotten that. She doesn't have Cora at the moment, so no wolf speed, he'll get her. He tried to placate Havoc's growing desire to hunt her himself. He'd better. Havoc growled, letting Nathan know of his displeasure at the situation. "Jackson." Nathan shot through the mind link when he had heard nothing for a solid 5 minutes. How could she get away from him without Cora, and in those damned stilettos? "Cora is awake and fast, boss. I'm not gonna get her," he sighed. "How close to the gate is she?" "Coming up any minute now." Havoc snarled in his mind. "We go. We'll not even get her now." "Jackson, stop. We'll retrieve her later. Let her go. Stop the minute you think she'll make the gate. It's open for the feds." "Right, boss." He only had to wait a few minutes. "Gone, boss, sorry. Get back to the pack house. We know where she's going." J-Law POV. Photographed and injuries documented and tended to by a human doctor. J-Law gave her statement to the human feds. All that she knew, she only told exactly what happened, leaving out that she had killed one wolf, but stated she had injured him. No lies about what had happened on pack territory. She would not incite more rage from her alpha. Technically, he and his men in the pack had not hurt her at all. Nil wounds were in fact inflicted by the alpha, beta, or previous alpha, all of whom she used their human names for. She was returned to Tony and Lauren's house, where her children were. She couldn't allow Cora to heal her because it would be suspicious to suddenly have no wounds. J-Law fell onto her knees and hugged her children tightly to her, kissing them repeatedly on their heads. They were all crying at the state of her, touching her gently and asking if it hurt. She didn't want them to see her like this, but it was the price of living in the human world. Their distress at her being missing was evident. Even when she tried to use the bathroom, they all trailed her. She just let them. She and Cora didn't want to let them out of sight either. So it was fine. She and the triplets had slept in the same bed every night that week. Tim had come straight over to Tony's house the minute Eric had informed him she was back and safe. He had stayed that first night and held her in his arms all night. While she had spent the night staring at her babies, it wasn't often one of them would actually spend the night. Usually they would have sex multiple times and then one would go home. Sleepovers were rare. There was no sex, she had too many injuries, and she was not interested either. And neither was he. He was just worried about her current state and wanted her to know he was there for her, to lean on. She was grateful for that. He could only stay on the weekend due to having to be in court all week. But it was nice to actually have him around. He had often hugged her and just cuddled her for no reason. He played with the kids and was generally nice to have around. The way the feds had found her, bruised, battered and bloodied and running screaming from the Blood Moon Pack or Browning's Corporation to the humans, had landed Nathan in hot water, though she knew it was most likely going to be swept away by the Wolfen Council, as they would find a way to get him off the hook and out of the human world's trials, and he would never ever see the inside of a real human prison. It would probably take some doing or time, but it would be done. Pay the right people the right amount, and anything could go away. J-Law knew that he had been charged with kidnapping and causing grievous bodily harm, as Eric had drawn up the charges and was going to prosecute the case himself, just like he had said it was going to. Eric was very unhappy and could see why she had stated she would not be able to bring them in as a client, called him all sorts of vile names when he'd collected her from the airport, and took stock of her condition. He'd been the one to take her to Tony and Lauren's. Eric had announced no work for the following week, and so she had spent it with her children at Tony and Lauren's. She felt safe there. It was a gated home with security cameras, and she didn't think that Nathan or any of his men would know about them, or at least she didn't think they would.
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.